What's up, Previews World? Welcome to our Marvel discussion with Patrick McDonnell, Alex Ross, courtesy of Marvel Arts. What is Marvel Arts exactly? Well, back in 2021, Marvel Comics and Abrams Books announced Marvel Arts, a new line of graphic novels overseen by Charles Kaufman, who is the editorial director of Abrams Comics Arts, and Tom Brevoort, Marvel's VP of Publishing. It's more of a curated experience for Marvel fans, one done in conjunction with Abrams, a company known for its high quality prestige releases. The first book from Marvel Arts was Fantastic Four Full Circle by Alex Ross, which skyrocketed to sales charts and racked up a lot of critical acclaim and industry award nominations this past year, proving that this Marvel Arts thing probably was a good idea. So what is next for Marvel Arts? Well, that is what we are here to discuss with, drumroll please, Alex Ross, creator behind the Fantastic Four Full Circle and Marvel Comics poster books. Hey, Alex.
Hello, how are you?
Doing all right, doing okay. And Mr. Patrick McDonnell, creator behind the superhero's journey. How are you, Patrick? Oh, he's elusive right now.
And you're both like in a choppy stage. I don't know.
Yeah.
Motion, but
Johnny, our
yeah, Patrick is saying he has no audio at the moment.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let's sort out Patrick real quick.
But Patrick, can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
Nope.
No, I can't hear
sound
you.
like it. Okay.
Okay. He's not as choppy anymore. We were doing so great too. It's the beauty of live stream. We're gonna be everybody watching at home, please be patient with us for a second while we get this straightened out.
Are people able to write things right now to?
Yeah, they're able to comment. We have a separate chat where they can just kind of jump in and say things.
I just want them to write the meanest things they can possibly.
Oh, please don't say that.
What else is the internet for except for
right, especially comic book nerds? Are you kidding me? We should really do that. That's a great idea. All right, so I don't know. Well, how about this? I'm gonna do the rest of my intro. For those of you unfamiliar with their work,
Patrick, can you hear anything?
You can't hear anything. Oh no.
Let me see if he can, if he's able to come out and like come back in.
Okay. There you go. Turn it off and turn it on again, Patrick.
This is exciting TV.
This is right. Yeah, this is fortunately, I think like YouTube has kind of created a precedent that like, yeah, these type of events are going to go wrong in some way, shape, or form. Well, look, for those of you unfamiliar with their work, you're ridiculous. We're not going to bother with introductions. Both of these creators have been recognized endlessly for their achievements in this medium. So when we get Patrick sorted out here, we're going to talk about first. But you know what, Alex?
While we're talking about Patrick's book, I've got it right here.
Yeah, we can just talk. Well, actually, I wanted Patrick to talk about Patrick's book, but actually, if you can just throw it up on screen.
The difference is I read it and I can say good things, whereas he shouldn't say them about himself. You know what I mean?
Also true. Can you say some good things about Patrick's book?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I can say very specific things about the one I'm holding here, which is that whereas the average copy you're going to get is going to have a blank page right up next to the title page, mine's not blank because I got a special drawing Patrick did for me.
Nice.
Let me get that straight. If anybody recognizes that, Patrick imitated my Kingdom Come poster with the Marvel characters for me. So that's even my name up there, see?
There you go.
So there you go. That's one of the many good things with this very
super
good book.
Alex.
So
that only you have access to.
I only have that one. Yes.
Right.
That's only for me. But my name is on the back of the book. So I've got some inherent involvement here. So But this is a very unique product that deserves everybody's attention. Just in terms of like the exposure of a point of view from the experience of a young reader, absorbing this stuff, and then elaborating further to how the very nature of what these concepts and ideas do to reach out and affect us. And I don't know, it's hard to probably encapsulate it in many ways. The mixture between the classic art and Patrick's art leads to an epiphany And epiphanies are very hard to relate storytelling wise, but he does it beautifully, and it's worth the journey.
That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. Do we have audio on Patrick now?
Yeah, hello everybody. Sorry about
Hey. So
So,
once again, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Ross, Patrick McDonnell. Round of applause.
And
hello, Patrick.
Alex, this is the first time we're actually meeting.
Yes.
I have to tell you, my book is about the awe and wonder I experienced as a 10-year-old reading those Jack Kirby books. But I re-experienced that awe and wonder when you came out with your work, which is just amazing.
Oh, thank you.
It gave me that same feeling of like, wow, this is something.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
I've heard a lot of people say that about Alex's work, myself included. So much appreciated. Actually, I'm glad you brought up seeing Jack Kirby's work for the first time, Patrick, because my first question is, what is and this is directed to both of you, your personal origin story with Marvel? When did you discover the House of Ideas? When did it latch on to you?
Well, for Patrick, he started first because he hit it like a good decade before I did.
Yeah, I was really lucky. Even though I'm an older guy, I was able to experience Jack and Stan's work when it was first coming out. My first book that I personally bought was X-Men number 11.
Okay.
I had an older brother who told me and my younger brother what we were allowed to collect, and he allowed me the X-Men, which I was happy for because I loved the early X-Men. But we were there for all those, when Galactus happened, we were going there once a month to see what was going to happen to that story. And Alex, again, the book you did, Full Circle for Comic Arts, I mean, that was such a moving book for me because I was probably like 11 years old when This Man, This Monster came out. And I feel like that was my first introduction to literature. I remember as a little kid just being blown away how powerful that story was. So, boy, all these years later to read your version of what happened next was really exciting.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's kind of a trope now where we see people do sequels to work that you think are sacred that you shouldn't really touch again. And I figured, why not? That's where fate is taking me. I'm just going to go along with it. And even if it's the most audacious thing in the world to give an answer for there's more to the story, why not me?
Absolutely. Oh, Alex, what about you? What is your Marvel origin story? When did you discover the Marvel universe?
Well, much like Patrick, you're getting your comic stuff from grocery stores, or in his case, he illustrates this at the beginning of his book here, the going to the local drugstore, which was common in the country, where that's where you would reliably see new comics coming out on the rack inside of a store, as opposed to a newsstand, which of course we know those are long since gone. I had similar kind of experience, mostly a grocery store experience of seeing comics there. And it wasn't until the 1980s when I was made aware of there being a local comic store in the town I grew up in, Lubbock, Texas, that I made the switch and never went back. But the first 10 years of my life would be from seeing this stuff in the average stores that we all go to.
Okay, awesome. How did you both get involved? Unlike, of course, your two projects are separate, but they're both under the Marvel Arts banner. How did you both get involved with Marvel Arts? Like, how did that meeting of the minds happen in the first place?
Well, I mean, you named him right at the start as Charlie Kochman, which I wish that was his name, but it's Kochman.
Kochman. Sorry, Charlie.
But he's been a good friend of both of ours, and it just happens to be that it's the weird thing of Abrams having a license with Marvel already for a number of books they've been working on. A peak of those various books they've got was the one on these Marvel stamps, which just came out. Was that earlier this year?
Just a week ago.
The Marvel stamps?
Yeah, well, at least maybe for Diamond, it came out just a week ago. It might have been already at bookstores already.
Oh, I think it's been out for a while, but anyways, so that book I have a small part of. I did a cover for it, but otherwise, Charlie been working on that, and the fact that there was already this relationship there when I was pitching to Marvel itself about doing a graphic novel line, starting with the book you've got now. That needed a home, and Marvel wasn't really willing to jump into doing the kind of graphic novel line like they did back in the 80s, where that was a long running line that ran up through the 90s and eventually petered out. But they shot me down there, but then there was this other outlet. We were able to save the line and the project by going with this other relationship to develop graphic novels there, which has been extremely well supported within the company. So Marvel's been a strong partner in us pulling together other people and talents. And that's where, Patrick is the perfect person to get from media that he's been involved in the arts and involved in comics, but not strictly this form. And so to get him is a huge get.
Absolutely. What about you, Patrick? How did you come into the Marvel Arts banner?
That was Charlie Kochman again. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I had just finished doing a book with the Dalai Lama and called Heart to Heart. And I was trying to figure out, what do you do after that? Charlie asked me if I would like to do a book with the Marvel superheroes. And man, it took me 1 second to say yes to that. I mean, that's a boyhood dream come true. So, I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I sure knew I was going to have fun doing
it. Absolutely. So Alex has been a great hype man for your book right now, right? But in your own words, the superhero's journey, like truthfully, the title alone, I'm a Joseph Campbell mark, so it sounds like it has shades of Joseph Campbell in there. Is this an examination of some sort?
Well, it definitely has Joseph Campbell in there. It's it's a spiritual journey for Mr. Fantastic with the Watcher, and I've always loved the Watcher character, and I feel like the book starts with a really powerful quote from Jack Kirby and ends with a powerful quote from Jack Kirby. But the opening quote is Jack was asked in an interview, if he could have a superpower, what would he like it to be? And he immediately answered love. And that's what this book is about. It's about Mr. Fantastic. The comic plot is Dr. Doom gets the negative zone to get, come into our country. And so everyone's negative. And Mr. Fantastic's trying to find out a way to make people positive. So he and the Watcher go on an inner journey to find love, basically.
And actually, if I could add a point to this, that our works were lightly concurrent in that what Patrick was developing was independent of what I was doing, where I had a whole theme regarding the negative zone, because that's where I take our characters in full circle. And the idea that the negative zone is more than just an abstract other dimension, but in fact that the very term negative has a value to it that may be defining and applying the entire place, that it is, and the term I selected for Reed to give it is psychoreactive. That it is itself an embodiment of negativity. And that's what Patrick brings within his work without voicing it exactly the same.
No, I definitely, I'm looking forward to the feel good aspect of this book when I pick it up from my local comic shop. Alex, let's jump over to Full Circle since you mentioned it. Started as a pitch for the FF's return after a hiatus, right?
That is exactly right. Yeah. After they had stopped publishing it for a number of years because they were trying to force Fox to give the property back, and then they eventually figured out, hey, if we could just buy Fox, then it's over with.
So that's a gargantuan strategy right there.
It's wild, yeah.
So this is also to both of you. Looking specifically at Superhero's Journey and Full Circle, what were the difficulties of putting both projects together? Because these both come off as painstakingly detailed, expansive concepts, right? So what were the difficulties here?
Patrick? We're here to promote you, man.
The difficulties. Well, I combined my art with the classic pages of Lee Kirby and Ditko and Don Heckman. So, arranging that was, just going through. Actually, I shouldn't say difficult. It was fun. I had to go pretty much reread all the books I knew as a kid, and we're picking panels that would work for the story, and also looking for panels that would inspire me to maybe where the story would go. The only difficulty I had, my original idea was I was going to have Mr. Fantastic go to the commercial zone, which was going to be all the old ads, the original 1960 comics. I really wanted Mr. Fantastic to meet the sea monkeys. I don't know if you remember the sea monkeys, but that was one of the ads in the books. But legally, we just couldn't get there, and without giving too much away, he ends up visiting the Love comic. Yeah, Grit newspaper was the only company that was legally okay with doing it.
Interesting.
It was just a surprise that even Grit newspapers still exist. Actually, all the comic ads that I was trying to get, they still exist.
They still exist.
You could still buy sea monkeys if you want.
I was gonna say, like, someone still owns that Sea Monkeys ad and still sitting on it, huh? That's crazy.
X-ray specs, they haven't gone away.
That's funny. That's hilarious. What about you, Alex? What were the difficulties of putting together Full Circle, or even the poster book for that matter? But I guess the poster book is more of a collection of your previous stuff.
Oh, all the posters of all the Marvel characters that I've been doing. That was part of a whole a mural that I was creating essentially for Marvel's offices in 2020 when the world stopped. So they had just installed this giant life-size mural and nobody was there to ever see it or work around it. I haven't been over to Marvel since yet. I've never even seen a good photo of their offices to know how it looks juxtaposed with people standing in front of it. But it was designed to be something that people could get shots of themselves next to these characters life size. And so since I did all the heroes the first time round, after a year or so, and they said, can you do more? Could you do the villains as well? And so now we've got a poster book of the villains published by Abrams too.
Awesome. Actually, I was actually going to ask you more about the poster book because I was curious. How long is that process? You weren't physically there painting the wall. Like, this is something that they printed on the wall, right?
No, the actual paintings themselves are not that large. I mean, they don't need to be because everything can just be scanned and then upsized whatever way you need it. So going back 25 years ago when I first started on stuff like this for DC, I was doing first what was intended for a Superman standee.
You're getting a little choppy there, Alex. I guess it's returned to be choppy.
28 inches. Was I heard the entire time or no?
I heard super and man. That was about it.
Okay. Well, my story's great, so you're going to want to hear me say it all over again. Anyways, I started off doing this kind of stuff for DC with posters for them, and at first was a standee I was creating of Superman. So that painting I did was only at around 28, 29 inches high, and so all the posters I've done for Marvel now are proportional to that. So I've got a whole host of these that I did. I've got the same for Marvel.
Okay. Patrick, what do you hope readers get out of Superhero's Journey? We talked about the positivity overall, but what do you hope a reader gets out of it, new or old?
Well, I think all comic, it's really my love letter to Marvel and Jack Kirby and Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. I think all comic readers will relate to that joy and that we get from reading these books and the inspiration we get from reading these books. And just how it really becomes personal, they stay with you. And this book is a love letter to that. And then on the spiritual side, it really is, one of the reasons I went with the negative zone was we seem to be living in very divisive, negative times. And, comics give us that positivity and art gives us that positivity. So hopefully people will get a feel good from this.
Awesome. I'm going to ask you guys the toughest question, right? Favorite character to draw / paint?
Is that the toughest question?
That's the toughest question.
Wow, that's one
It's
knocked
it's
off
it's
my
it's
feet
as
with that one.
it's as soft as bounty. Yes. Uh-oh. Well, we look. I guess it was difficult because he froze again. Oh, you giving Patrick?
All
Patrick,
right.
I think he's telling you to go first.
Okay, sure. It's funny. This book kind of wrote itself once I started. And I would have never picked Mr. Fantastic to be the lead character because he's
Hmm.
definitely one of the more boring characters. Not other than a long neck or long arms, he's really not that much fun to draw. I think in doing this book, I enjoyed drawing all of them. I would say the old Iron Man with the spiky helmet was my favorite character to draw. I was just at the Baltimore Comic Con, and people who bought the book, I would ask who their favorite character was, and I would do a sketch of that character. And I tell you, that was like one of the most fun days for me in a long time, just to be doodling Marvel characters for the day. And I'm going to be at the New York Comic Con next week, and I'll be doodling my favorite characters and your favorite characters in those books too.
Okay, all right. I'm totally lost Alex. I totally lost Alex for a second. But we do have a viewer question. John, you think you can throw that up for us? And actually, actively cannot see the viewer questions. Alex, I can see your old school influences in your art, e.g., Ramita, Trimp, Starlin, etc. Are there painters that have also influenced you, e.g., Larkin, Norum, Barr? We'll see. Alex isn't here.
Well, you
But
can't see
actually,
me?
oh, okay. Oh, you're here. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's
I see myself on screen. I don't know.
okay. Your screen is blank from where I'm seeing it. But
Oh, okay.
feel
I mean,
if you
if you
can't
can
answer that
hear
question.
me, yeah, the answer to that is all of those they listed.
Hmm.
Norum, Larkin, Barr, they are the three preeminent painters who were doing covers in the late 70s for Marvel's magazine line, for the Rampaging Hulk magazine,
Hmm.
which had an enormous influence on 8-year-old me.
Hmm.
So I loved that stuff, and the way those guys interpreted these characters into lifelike renderings was shaping exactly what I wanted to do with my adult life. This was
Hmm.
something that I wanted to rise up to, and yeah, that was one of those guiding things. There's a whole lot of painters I could list that are coming from either American illustration, like your Rockwells and Andrew
Hmm.
Lewis's, but there's also just the comics-based stuff, which these three names that were put out there are very preeminent for me, aside from the painters who were painting storytelling in comics before I got in the business.
Hmm.
And obviously, whole lot of influence from those men that did that. People like Bill Sienkiewicz and, Dave McKean. Yeah, it's a long list. Sorry.
Actually, Patrick, what about you? What are your influences? Like, of course, you're known for the book Mutts, in addition to many other graphic novels. But what are your influences?
Well, I mean, as a kid, obviously, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee and Steve Ditko were important to me, but I was also a comic strip nut, and I think Peanuts is the reason I became a cartoonist, and
Hmm.
Crazy Cat was a major influence. I think I knew even at an early age I wasn't as talented as Alex Ross and Jack Kirby to do anatomy right and to draw things realistic. So I naturally lean towards the more humorous sketchy cartoon. So I would say Herman and Schultz
Hmm.
were two major influences.
Hmm.
And for this
Okay.
book, probably mostly Kirby.
Okay. Let's see here. Look, I was actually thinking, I was like, Alex has been pulled into the negative zone, it looks like, but that's okay. Another was Alex. Any chance for a Bernie Wrightson-esque Swamp Thing versus Man Thing book? That's fan fiction, I guess, but okay.
Well, I mean, when you say Bernie Wrightson, that is one of my biggest childhood influences. And there was a point when I was a teenager that I was directly trying to imitate his style from things like the Frankenstein book that he worked on.
Mm,
So big influence in my young life. And in particular, when I first saw Swamp Thing, I thought there was something to its realism, even though his work was so stylized. I saw the shadow play in it and thought, I've got to get that into my work
mm,
because I wasn't getting that from all my other influences of artists who were drawing regular meat and potatoes comics. They didn't use shadow in the way Bernie did. But I have an adoration for Bernie's version of Swamp Thing, I do not have an adoration for Marvel's Man-Thing. To me, he's just a rehash of the old 40s character, the Heap. And I don't find him visually stimulating. But Swamp Thing, yes. Swamp Thing is like a version of Karloff Frankenstein. And that's what I get out of it. And that's why I connect so well to that and Frankenstein, Bernie's Frankenstein.
Gotcha, understood. What is next for both of you before we wrap up? Anything you can tell us that might be coming down the line that you want people to keep an eye out for?
Well, for me, actually, I have a character in my comic strip Much called Guard Dog, and he's a chained dog, and he's been chained for a long time. And I've been promising my readers for a while that I would do a story about him. So I'm doing a 7-week-long story, sort of like the old adventure strips like Cherry and the Pirates or Dick Tracy. So I haven't done that in a long time, so it's been a lot of fun to do a daily story that lasts for 7 weeks.
Gotcha.
Could your story conclude with yourself written in to come along and literally unchain the dog?
That would be nice, wouldn't it?
I mean,
you are in charge. You can make that happen.
Technically, you chained the dog.
Oh, wow.
Technically, I unchain him too, so.
What about you, Alex? Anything coming down the line that you can even mention, or is mom's the word?
Oh, I would tell you anything you want to hear, honestly. I mean, most of my work is coming out as regularly as Patrick's are, where, I'm seen in plain sight just by all the covers I do for regular books with Marvel. But I'm planning my next Marvel Arts book, presuming they don't shoot it down when I do propose it to them. So I've just given myself kind of a year off from stressing over it, but I've also been developing a lot of designs, the concept and everything. And so when it comes together, it will be as much as I can cram into one book as humanly possible.
All right. That's awesome.
Let me ask you, Alex, in doing this book, my appreciation for Ditko and Kirby just, went out of the roof. And what I was amazed with those guys was the quality, but the quantity of work they did. They always gave 100% in how much work they do. But boy, I think I'm even more impressed with you. I can't. Are you like me? Do you never leave the studio?
I never take vacations. I barely take the weekend off. I'm basically what you see is what I am. I don't exist in anywhere else other than on the printed page.
When I was in art school, the story was that Norman Rockwell only took off Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I work on Thanksgiving and Christmas, so.
The life of a cartoonist.
Make sure I take those off. So.
Oh, Master Sith 40 saying this is so cool. Thank you, Master Sith. Much appreciated. Guys, thank you. Oh, it was great. It was great getting some insight. Thank you, John Millington.
Yeah.
Hurry up and get cramming. Okay. The audience is unforgiving. They just want the end result. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I appreciate you giving me your time. I want to remind people, Fantastic Four Full Circle and Alex's poster book is available everywhere right now. Superhero's Journey is in stores as well, and you can pick that up as well from your local comic shop. Head over to comicshoplocator.com to find a comic shop near you, or if you already know where your comic shop is, hit up Previous World Pull Box. That is a direct-to-order service that basically allows you to order the book to your comic shop and go pick it up, because of course we want to support the local stores. Also, watch out for the Marvel Value Stamped Visual History hardcover featuring art by Alex Ross on the cover. And yeah, thanks again for joining us again. See you tomorrow as we talk to Blake Northcott and Kevin Rotatelli about Massive Publishing. And as always, I will see all of you, every last one of you, at the Spinner Rack. Have a good one.